Me.
We're on.
And I like the fact that's actually not Neal.
No.
That's Craig, the owner of GSN. But yes, don't worry about it. He's morphed into it.
Come
But
on.
big round of applause for Neal.
He's got a lot less hair than me, so I'm not having that one. Yeah.
So just a little bit of housekeeping. As you probably would have heard, initially it's supposed to be Jonathan Lundy speaking today, but Neal and Gold Standard Nutrition have kindly jumped in at the last minute because Jonathan unfortunately hurt his back last week. He doesn't joke around. He's a very brutally honest guy, but he will come to a future event, so don't worry of those Jonathan Lundy fans. He will be here at some point in the future. But Neal, thanks very much, but let's jump straight into it, all right? Do you want to just basically give everyone a brief overview of who you are, what you do, and a bit more about GSN?
Yep, so definitely not that man on there, but so I'm Neal, I'm the Chief Growth Officer at GSN, Gold Standard Nutrition for the longer-winded name, but we're the UK's favourite healthy frozen food company, as done by Trustpilot, but we're also the one that's been around the longest. I've been around for 13 years now. There's a lot of players coming into the market over the last 3 to 4 years. I used to explain it in a way that we have our mortgage, which is the wholesale side of the business, that's B2B, where we have over 700 independent locations up and down the country, from gyms, NHS, Thames Valley Police, and that used to be the stable to the company, and we introduced e-commerce 6 years ago. We were definitely a COVID boomer on e-commerce, and it's completely flipped around now. So e-com, we have about 5,500 customers a month. We in wholesale obviously have the 700 sites, and I used to end the sales pitch saying we'll never go over retailer, we always go independent, but we've recently just onboarded with Co-op, going sort of for the full nation, and also one that came through yesterday that I'm not sure when this recording goes out, so don't know if I'm allowed to announce it, but it is Ocado, and obviously helps the e-com side of the business as well.
Amazing. Well, first and foremost, 13 fucking years in business is awesome. Well done.
Thank you.
Well, let's go back to year one, right?
Yep.
So what was the very first, what the fuck am I doing here moment in year one, and how close were you to quitting?
There's a few. So Craig, who is on the screen, founder 13 years ago, is actually my best friend from uni. He started the company up because he found we were very gym focused when we set up, but he found that steam cooked chicken breasts, pre-cooked in a 2.5 kilogram bag, the bodybuilders went wild for. And we started with the launch campaign. So I used to actually just help him out on the side as a mate, with the best breasts. Something I can't remember how it ended, but we started in that, and I think I remember the what the fuck are we doing moment in year one, where we were up in somewhere in Scotland, couldn't tell you where, giving these bags out over a counter, and massive bodybuilders just telling us we'd launched really strongly with the best breasts, and these guys were massive, and we were just that fresh-faced out of uni little lads. And at that moment I thought, is this going to be my career? Just handing chicken breasts over a counter.
Well, if you don't want to get a job with Spud Bros or something along those lines.
Yeah, exactly.
That's no problem. So look, you guys have bootstrapped all the way to 6 mil.
Correct.
That's amazing, no investments. What's one resource of luxury you refuse to spend money on for years, even when you could afford it?
I don't want the pitchforks to come out. Agencies, definitely.
I want to hear some boos. Give us some boos.
Some boos. No, it was always something we preferred to see the faces behind the desk and work with people. And we had a concept in our mind, and we'll talk more about it. I'm sure the agencies were above and beyond on spend, and it was just a luxury we thought we couldn't have. So I think that's definitely something looking back that was one that we didn't spend for a long time. In fact, I can even tell you we didn't have our first full-time agency until about 18 months ago, 2 years ago.
When you first started out, what was the first version of the product market fit like? Did it happen intentionally or by accident? What did that look like?
Honestly, it just boomed in with these chicken. It was boring. They're just plain steam cooked chicken breasts, but they went mad for them. And then the product's massively developed now, I can proudly say. But we stumbled into putting them into kind of Chinese takeaway pots as a meal. And we just did a rice, this is boring, a rice, veg and steam cooked chicken breast that had been cubed up. And we literally just did it into that. And then we added a little bit of sauce to create 2 new flavors with it. and stumbled into this market that just completely changed the game for us. And that I can proudly say, to be fair, those steam cooked chicken breasts accumulate, I'm probably saying online only here, but about 5% of our sales a year now.
Do you eat your own product?
All day, every day.
Lies. Right. Pretend we changed my surname from Pilkington to Sugar for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Pretend I'm Alan Sugar and gave you 500 grand on day one. What do you think you would have messed up with that money by scaling too fast? What would you fucked up?
No, really good question. I think fulfillment, funnily, I was chatting to a couple of people before, fulfillment in frozen, you can imagine, is just a whole new ball game. And we actually send our food out just by DPD, not frozen delivery. It's just in a box with DPD. And I can guarantee you, we even messed up 3 years ago by scaling a bit too quick, where early doors it would have been delivery. We're a lot more robust there now, but then it was manufacturing the product. Everything's hand-filled and handmade. So when we boom, we feel good, but the reality is that you then need more people on the line. We were working with one manufacturer 4 years ago. We now work with 3.
Nice.
To have the ability, we could double now and would be okay. But back then, if we were given that money, that would have been the stumbling block.
This is one for the strategy agencies in the room. I'd love to know, what was your early brand strategy? Tactical trial and error, or deeply planned? Because whatever you're going to say, they're going to criticize you.
You can criticize, that's fine. No, we stumbled into it. I think it really was Craig. I can't take the credit on it. He spotted the gap in the market, found it, and then 5 years in, found that it just developed an audience that loved these bags, but that was the niche, the real niche. If they were all bodybuilders, all body prep. And now if you look at the brand, we rebranded 3 years ago from Gold Standard Nutrition. It was like a Superman shield, Gold Standard Nutrition, gold all over it, really intimidating. And our demographic, or our audience, was 20% female. They were all in bodybuilding prep. And now it's 50-50. Like I said, we've gone into the likes of Co-op and other places like that because we've softened that brand. So I think if you say, did we plan it? No, but we've obviously changed that over time.
Fair play. Hands up if there's not founders, co-founders in the room. Hands up. Just want to see how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what was the hardest conversation you had with your co-founder over the 13 years? And did you ever were you coming to blows? Like, were you going like, fuck you, no, fuck you? Like, what happened?
It's really boring. I honestly, I think there's definitely been hard conversations. I think, and there still is to the day. But I can't give you like a Hollyoaks moment where
spill the beans.
He's put me through a door. But no, it's little conversations that come up I think we summarised it together. One of my other businesses, he said it as well. It was marriage you can get out of easier than a business partnership, and especially once it gets going. And honestly, I couldn't agree more. You have to go into business with someone that, even at the worst times when you disagree, that you're mature enough to be able to step back. And I want to give you a dramatic moment, but I think the only times we've probably come to blows is when something's gone horribly wrong, and you're trying to find the solution, and probably isn't one that looks easy.
Fair play. And what part of running a company absolutely drains you, and how do you handle that now? Because I'm sure there's been times where you're like, Joe, I'm not getting out of bed today. I'm not even hungover. I just can't. I don't want to deal with all this shit.
Honestly, I think we come into the cycle every 3 years. It's kind of working out as people. It's such a challenge for a business. And I know I joke about the agency side of things, but we really did like the work from home, like maybe old school, both 33, but like to see the faces and the hard work going into the business. And I think when you're paying people, that's how we've always kind of visioned it. And we keep coming into the cycle of the challenge where it's like we've had to adopt to work from home, and obviously making that accommodating for people that we're employing, but then also bringing in agencies and not having that point of contact on your beck and call all the time with an hour slot to meet each week, make sure you're getting the most of it. And I think that was definitely something that's been a real challenge to get around. And when you go back to getting up in the morning, I think people are always the hardest bit. We really invest into the team. We do all of what everybody does with the days out. We look after them, free food every day. And we've built a whole gym in the office. So it's like an old chapel. We converted it to a gym. Craig invested in that in COVID so people could still train. And even after all that, when people still come to you with problems and still want more, I think that's probably been the biggest challenge that we've definitely found.
Well, you guys have done some bold stuff like the Fittest Man docuseries. Like, you've had different ideas for wild campaigns.
Yeah.
Give us one wild campaign that made it to the next stage, and one that just didn't get off the table.
Yeah. Harry Lightfoot, Fittest Man in the UK, eats our food religiously all day, every day, not sponsored. And then we brought him in on as affiliate. But I've got a real bugbear with podcasts and the way that everybody's piggybacked onto this podcast. And then once I heard about fake podcasts, that completely threw me, that people would sit in front of a camera and do a fake one. And I was like, it annoyed me that that's how people were doing their advertising, and it felt like a shortcut. So we did a campaign with Harry recently, and it was like a 6-episode docuseries where we followed him day in the life, gave people the raw and the real insights to this guy that lives in his coach's outhouse, probably gets about £500 a month spending money, relies on GSN to eat every day. Now we're sort of backing him. And it was just the rawness behind him and the reality of being a top level athlete. He's the fittest man in the UK, came second in Europe, and then went to the Worlds. And I don't know if anyone's into CrossFit, but a ridiculous sport, ridiculously challenging. And he came 14th, I think, in the world. And he could walk in now, no one would recognise him. And it blows my mind. So we did something with him, it was raw, and we educate people, and it was amazing the response that kind of people got behind that.
Yeah.
Well, that's one that worked. One that didn't, we've always tried Black Friday, and we've never got it right. And I don't know if that's us not nailing it. That might be the way it is. But what we've always found is we've tried to run new acquisition through Black Friday, and then also get people. The theory internally was that if you're eating GSN in November and a bit of December, when it comes to January and people are ready for the health kick, you're in the forefront of their mind. It just never worked like that. We just found that basically people would get a really cheap deal in Black Friday, keep it in a freezer, which is great, by the way, you get 12 months on it, but they just stocked up, and then it stitched us up in January. So
I think that's hilarious, because now in about at the lunch break, you go, Black Friday, friend! You can have loads of agencies running at you saying, I can help you, I can help you, I can help you.
And I'm all ears. Throw it at me, yeah.
Start the queue outside now.
Yeah.
So for the agency side of things, how do you weigh up marketing spend versus creative experimentation?
Yeah, good question. You mentioned bootstrap. So the biggest thing for us at the minute is there is so much more competition, and they've got real financial backing. Thrive, if people have heard of it, Simmer Eats, they've all either done crowdfunding, or Thrive have got external investments with big money. And funnily enough, through agencies, I won't say who, we managed to find out what their ad spend is versus ours. And we're honestly spending 10% of what these brands are doing, just in the way that we can do it. And we always say the pounding has to bring 4 back. And I think that has always been the thing. In experimentation we do, but it's we actually got told off recently. We brought in a brand expert everything we do is product led, and that's been the biggest eye-opening thing that we've come into this year to change. Is that I'll say GSN to everyone. People probably haven't heard of GSN, but if you have, you love the product. It's great. People have bought into it. But Craig, for example, is a brilliant founder with a really good story. We haven't told anyone. Jonathan Lundy, who should have been sat here, has done a really good article on him, and some of the stories that Craig could tell you over the 13 years from the founder side of things is that we're missing a huge opportunity there. So in experimentation, we're pushing more into that this year with top level brand, but because we said on the call, tight Yorkshireman, not by the accent, we've always said £1 in, £4 back. So we've always been product led and educating on the product as opposed to building the brand and experimenting creatively.
Yeah.
Harry was probably the first time we did something that wasn't product led, and it worked really well. So, yeah.
Just got to try some different stuff, don't you?
Definitely.
So you openly challenged the wellness industry's bullshit, right? So what marketing trend in your sector makes you cringe the most? And I'm sure there's lots.
We always have this discussion. There's a difference between a trend and a fad, I think is probably the way to word it. We've got an MPD manager who looks after all the products. And now I'm seeing people really heavily pushing this, the bio products. They'll they'll say organic, it's not organic what they're putting in. And there's this real thing down to like collagen's huge, right? So I don't know if people know, but vitamin C is a really good way of getting that as a vitamin into you. There's other ways you can do stuff, or fiber is really growing. And we're finding brands, matcha, there you go. Yeah. I've seen a meal with matcha in it, and that is a fad. Like that is like trying to get a quick win, a quick sale. And our biggest bugbear is our best selling products, everything's high protein and low sugar, and they're not fads, they're real trends that you can back behind. And kind of not answering your question here, I'm like a politician, but the fads are the things that really bug us, where people are trying to put collagen into products, or find things that can get them a quick sale. And really, we're passionate on the health side of things. Ian, who's the sort of ops director and MPD, is like ridiculous nutritionist. He's the one who's pacing up and down the room when he sees these adverts, and he's getting really wound up by it. But it's like, I think the biggest bugbear for us is the people that are trying to find a really quick win, just to find vulnerable people that everyone's trying to be healthy or make a healthy choice. The reality is you can't get past Whole Foods. Whole Foods are the best way they're ever going to eat healthy. And that comes down just to really good sourced ingredients, but not throwing matcha into a random meal, or sprinkling a little bit of fibre in there just to try
just leave it in a can like the perfect Tet that we have outside. Wink, wink.
No. Yeah.
But okay, right. Let's talk about the influencer marketing side of things. So from Zara to NH Doctors to athletes, but how do you filter choosing those particular people as your brand ambassadors?
It's really easy. If they've bought the product before, we'll back them. Otherwise, we don't.
So you'll back anyone who's bought your product?
No, so we'll entertain it, and then we'll see if they're worth obviously bringing on. But I think Jason Manford, as an example, got in touch yesterday. Cool. He's been eating our product for over a year, and I don't know if people have seen his journey, but he started investing in paddle, in his health. Obviously, he's kind of the guy you meet down the pub, and like he's really losing a lot of weight, and he's sort of trying to make these decisions. That's something someone we're very interested in. Harry was buying the products before. Dr. Zara, you mentioned buying products before. So like we've always tried to keep it authentic and go down that route. We haven't ever backed it. The bit that gets us on the influencers side is you bring them on, and if they can't create content, it's really all reliant on us to obviously work with them and make the content. Like Harry Lightfoot, as good as he is, if you ask him to make a TikTok for you, it's like asking your nan. Like it's awful. Like it's just not his game. So like we have to follow him with a camera to make a 6-episode series. So yeah, influencers are a really interesting one, especially in our markets. I think people are looking for that authenticity now. I hope they are, and if especially anything to do with health, and that's going back to the fads. Don't get me wound up. But yeah, I think it's really important. People are looking at who use the products religiously and do buy into it, and they're not just, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example. Did anyone watch Geordie Shore? I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
You don't have a life.
Yeah, I know. It's going to go out, isn't it? But I'll say it anyway. So Scotty T. Oh, what a guy. Got in touch. His messages read how he speaks as well. And naivety, you asked what went wrong. Well, this was 5 years ago, so it's like wicked. He's got 1 million followers. We're going for it. It's going to change the business overnight. And we did it, and it didn't. And then the next day he posted his OnlyFans post, and it was like, cool, so we're now sat next to this OnlyFans. Maybe it go back to the best breast thing, but it's difficult.
God, what a tit. All right, so tell me about a flopping product launch and what was the biggest oversight? Because look, nothing's ever perfect in your world in regards to product, in regards to marketing, and so on and so forth. So what has flopped massively?
That we backed financially as well. Would be our signature meals. So we brought them out. There's a huge market. So Simmer eats £7-8 a meal. So we know people are willing to spend that much on it. Our meals are £3.99.
They weren't worth the money. I tried them.
Good. Okay. Thank you for saying. I'll add that in as a plug. But so we launched. We really backed it. We got all of our influencers down. We did a huge event around it. Made this gourmet meal sort of dinner thing because it was a premium range, and we really financially backed it. And the reality is, I think the numbers never, I'm a numbers guy, I'm the nerd of the company, and we just could never get that secondary spend going. And I don't actually, it's nothing to do with the product. It was really down to how we probably positioned that. And the biggest thing on positioning it was Ian MPD really backed this and was like, wicked, we're going to go miles with it. And then when it launches and flops, the guilt kicks in that maybe we haven't done a good enough job, and we're starting to bring in new flavours, and we're finding that that's revitalising it. So it could have been flavour-led, it could have been how we pushed that out originally. I'm going to carry on talking, but overnight oats, we launched overnight oats. Again, Ian MPD nailed this product. They're brilliant high protein overnight oats that you could get. It's like a frozen block, you take it out the night before. Everyone loves overnight oats, so it's like this, we were betting our houses on it. And we had 4 flavours to go. We launched the first flavour, and the feedback was just awful, nothing to do with the product, but because it was a frozen block, people are after convenience. So you have to think ahead to take it out of your freezer, it defrosts, you use it the next day. So it's nothing to do with the product, but that convenience factor that has got GSN everywhere, we didn't follow it on that product. Or, well, we thought about it, but yeah, it didn't follow it.
Okay, so last question, and then we'll go to the audience for a quick 2 questions. As we end all of our conversations here at Digital Clubhouse, what's been your biggest fuck up?
We launched our website a year ago. This is ecom related, and had the opportunity with PayPal to be the first company to use their checkout, a new checkout system. We launched it with a really, really good agency, 1 Degree North, based in Leeds. And we then spent a month scrambling, and we had to move to a Revolut checkout because we were first to use it. But the way we felt like frauds was we were in the Times, we got a feature in the Times, we got all this exposure, it was brilliant, we still use it now. But the reality was we launched it and we went from a 0.5% failure rate in the checkout to a 38.
Oh God.
Yeah, that noise, that still haunts me to this day. So yeah, big fuck up.
Fair,
yeah.
fair. Any questions from the audience? No? Yeah, one.
When you're releasing creatine chicken.
Yeah, that, honest to God, you had to ask it, didn't you? Yeah, honestly, don't get me started.
Dills?
Yeah, the PayPal checkout. Shock, I'm asking a checkout. Was that Fastlane? Was it? Or
I think it was a new app on it where it was all their payment checkout. It was the payment part, but it integrated into our website. It looked like ours, so I can't remember the name of it. But I'm assuming it's not around anymore. I don't want to know if it is.
Fair. As we normally do with our brands, we normally do a giveaway, but their shit's frozen, so we can't do that. But what we're going to do is, if you see Neal afterwards, or we can actually get the details in the email afterwards, we'll send it out. VIP discount code. For everybody in the audience. Woo. Everyone, Neal from Gold Standard Nutrition.
Cheers.